Hello and welcome to Das Nostalgia. There isn't much of this year left, so I decided to play something holiday, I guess, but I didn't want it to be Christmas Lemmings or Jazz Jackrabbit Holiday Hair. So I've decided to play Xmas Wolf, which is a Christmas mod of a shareware version of Wolfenstein 3D, as you can tell, I'm sure. Now, a lot of things have been replaced, but not the music, so I'm gonna put in music from other Christmas games, as you can hear right now. It's a really cool mod. I like it. I like the tiny details, like all the walls are changed and stuff, and all the portraits, and there's Christmas lights on the doors and stuff. So there's gonna be a link in the description to download and play it in your browser, because I'm gonna put it up on the Internet Archive. I'm not doing too great right now. But yeah, and I will note that although I'm a pretty decent Wolfenstein 3D player, as you can tell, well, not as you can tell, I'm moving with the mouse and the keyboard, which is an optimal way of doing it, which is why I'm like flying down those corridors. But Wolfenstein games are fairly random each time, because the worst thing I think about Wolfenstein 3D, one of its biggest shortcomings, is that damage is based on chance in a lot of ways. It's also based on other things, like how you're facing to the enemy and how the enemies face you, and first level done. But in the distance between you and but it's also based on chance, so sometimes enemies up close can do absolutely massive amounts of damage. Yeah, let's save here. And sometimes you, from far away, your shot can actually land and not make zero damage. The enemy will be hurt and will go into a hurting animation, but you know, there'll be zero damage done to it. I'll expand more on that in the proper Wolfenstein 3D review, which is coming. And speaking of which, I would like to sort of sum up the year 2016 for Das Nostalgia. It was an interesting year for me, for sure. For Das Nostalgia, I tried making more content. Here's a snowman. I tried making more content and tried to break away from just game reviews, if you could tell. And that's something I need your help with. And although I sort of reserve input that will directly influence my decisions regarding what I'm going to put out to people who contribute to my Patreon, to Das Nostalgia Patreon, for which, by the way, I'm eternally grateful. It's great to have something. It's very motivating. It actually what motivated me to sort of break out of the regular review format a bit. Something that I always wanted to do, but now I really want to try new things, and that's when I need your help, I guess, or your input. So please, if you'd like to see something different on Das Nostalgia, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I always want to get ideas about something different. You know, there's Das, and Das gaming is sort of very vast, so you know, sometimes it's easy to get lost or sidetracked or whatever, and I would like some input to maybe get ideas about new stuff. And please don't make it like review requests. I got those are fairly easy, and I got a lot of game reviews planned out, but maybe you want to see something different. Maybe review some kind of a series of software, or just some software, you know, some business type applications, or something, you know, reviews of, or soundtrack comparisons, you know, something like that, you know, and share your stories. I started Das Nostalgia because I love hearing people's stories about DOS games, you know, different experiences, and I love hearing people's stories, so that's what I always look for in comments, and stuff like that. So don't hesitate to leave the comment. And also this year I did a lot of podcasts in one shot. At one point they were going in fairly regularly. That's because I managed to book a whole bunch of guests at the same time, pretty much, and I had plenty of material to work with, great topics to more are coming, but podcast guests are hard to come by for me. I want people, I want to ask people, I want people to step up. The easiest way to contact me is on Twitter. If you want to be on a podcast, just contact me on Twitter and tell me what you want to talk about. But you have to know what you're talking about. You can't be like, oh, maybe I can talk about adventure games. Like, that's not good enough. You have to know. Like, if you want to talk about adventure games, I'd like a topic to be more concise. Something that you think you can talk about for about an hour. Because I can guarantee you it's going to turn from 1 hour to 3 hours. That's how it always is. And, it's, while we're talking here, you'll remember something else, but you should be able to carry the topic. So we can't talk about adventure games, because if the topic is the way I work. If I want to talk about adventure games, then it means we have to cover like as many adventure games as possible, and that podcast would be like 5 hour long. And at this point in time, I sort of understand that nobody's going to listen to that. Well, some people I'm sure will, but most people will not listen to a 5 hour podcast, and it'll be a pain to make. So just sort of, suggest short topics, but most importantly, suggest yourself. I don't like to carry podcasts. But if you know what you're talking about and you can fill an hour, please contact me, and you can be on a podcast. We can be talking about all this stuff, and people will listen to it. A lot of people are interested. I do this podcast mostly for myself because I love talking to people unscripted about many topics and their experiences. Again, I like comments and stories, but as much as I do it for myself, I also know many other people enjoy it as much or maybe even more than I do myself. So podcasts are always cool. So there's that. And also regarding podcasts, there's been a lot of comments coming in that, oh, please put some game footage over the podcasts on YouTube. Never gonna happen, I'm sorry to say, because they're there just for discoverability and maybe as a backup in case. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to most of them in the car, and I know most people listen to podcasts while they're doing something else maybe, and not staring at the screen for, my podcast can be like 3 hours. You're really gonna look at the game footage for 3 hours? So I find it really redundant, and mostly when I spend 6 hours or sometimes 8 hours editing a podcast, I really don't want to then cobble together more stuff to additional work. I think it's redundant, so I'm sorry if you always expect some kind of visuals with a podcast, but it's never gonna happen. It's extra work that I really don't want to do. But I'll gladly make longer videos. A lot of people I've seen coming in, the comments coming in that the videos are sometimes too short, and it's like I kind of just put in my videos. They're only as long as I don't time them. I just want to be sort of short and to the point mostly. So the videos just come out this way because they do. So that's that. If you want longer videos, then maybe suggest a topic that if I see it and I'm like, oh, okay, so this does sort of like, there's a lot of material to get in all at once, and the videos will be longer. It's as easy as that. I don't think videos should be any kind of length. They just sort of happen. So that's that. I don't know. I'm not doing too bad anymore. This is actually a fairly difficult mod. Well, not fairly difficult. I think it's just the difficulty actually I think is fairly well measured. Like it's the same as playing the original shareware episode of Wolfenstein, about the same amount of enemies per level and same sort of percentage of different enemies. I like it. It's balanced. I like it a lot. Wow, I really don't know what to say anymore. But yes, if you have any input, please. I'm always all ears about suggestions for extra topics. I said this like a million times already. But again, thanks to all the people who support me on Patreon. Trust me, at these trying times, it means a lot to me. I don't think I can exactly express how much I'm grateful for that. So thank you all. And if I disappointed some people with my content in the year 2016, I'm sorry. I will try to do better. I always want to do bigger and better things. It just doesn't always work out this way. Like I would always like to make, you know, maybe I would want to make 2 compilation videos, you know, like MS-DOS in the year, blah blah blah. I would like to make 2 of these a year, maybe, but honestly, like those take me like 3 months to make, so it's fairly demanding. It's like I gotta play all those games and all that stuff. It's a fairly tedious process. So, well, who knows? Maybe one day it will happen. And if anybody did have any questions about these, yes, I'm going backwards now. It's very likely next year will be MS-DOS games in 1990, unless things changed. The issue here is like I don't have technical capability to record many demanding games of later DOS years from 96 and 97, which is pretty much about as high as I wanted to go, because 97 was pretty much the last big year for commercial DOS releases. After that, it's really just you can count the amount of commercial DOS releases on one hand, basically. But those games are very demanding often. Like I even struggled with the 1995 video, which is why a lot of the 3D games in that video are presented in VGA and not SVGA. I'm kind of a bummer about it, but I just couldn't do it. So unless I get myself better machines and better capturing methods, 1996 and 1997 won't happen for a while. But I still have plenty of room to go backwards, so there's plenty of that. If you'd like to see me do more Let's Plays, I don't particularly like doing them. It's tough for me. If you're following my Doom 2D Let's Play, I feel kind of sorry for you. You see all my mistakes or whatever. But if you'd like to see me do more Let's Plays, suggest the games. That's going to be interesting. But thank you most of all if you've been watching for a while, or if you're a new viewer. Thank you very much for watching. It's nice to know that people are interested in DOS games. It's good to know that there are so many DOS enthusiasts in this world, and let's hope that 2017 will be a better year for all of us, you know, in our personal lives as well as our hobbies like DOS gaming. So, thank you again for watching this and listening to me yap, and Happy New Year!